so we're going to talk about density, which is just the degree of compactness of a substance. So if you look at these three examples up here at the top, I've got these ones right here. They are all different degrees of density. This one over here being the most dense, while this one down here is the least. So basically you're just looking at what is your total mass or the amount of stuff per volume, which is the total space taken up. And we either measure that in grams per centimeters or grams per milliliters. When we measure density, if you're trying to find the volume of a cube, you're going to use a balance to find your mass, and then you're going to take your length, width, and height and multiply those together to find your volume, and that will be in cubic centimeters, generally speaking. But if you have an object that's shaped oddly, like a sphere or something that has an irregular shape, you're going to end up using water displacement. So right here, you have a graduated cylinder. So if you had a graduated cylinder, you'd put water in and you'd measure your water level before, and then you would add your object down here in the bottom, and then the water level would go up, and you'd measure it after and take the difference. One thing I want to note here is that when you're reading a graduated cylinder, you read from the bottom of the meniscus. So this loopy shape right here, that's the meniscus, and you want to make sure that you're taking your measurements from the very bottom of that. So this would not be 71 or 72, but instead it would be 66 down here. Some examples: density determines whether an object floats or sinks in water or in any other liquid, really. If the density of the substance is less than water, it will float in water. So our density of water here is 1 gram per milliliter. And the density of ice is actually 0.97 grams per milliliter, which is why ice floats. Wood and styrofoam as well both have lower densities than water, so they float too. Over here I have a list of densities of different metals, and you can actually look and see that lithium has a density of 0.53 grams per milliliter, so that one will float, as well as sodium, which has a density of 0.97 grams per milliliter. So both of those will float. However, our less dense, one more, potassium will also float. Other metals will not, so things like silver is super dense, lead is very, very dense. Those things are going to sink in water.